1 foot at 4 seconds. Independence Day, west winds around 5 knots. Waves 1 foot or less. Wave detail, west 1 foot at 5 seconds. Saturday night, west winds 5 to 10 knots. Waves 1 foot or less. A chance of showers and thunderstorms. Sunday, southwest winds around 5 knots, becoming southeast in the afternoon. Waves 1 foot or less. A chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Sunday night, southeast wind 5 to 10 knots. Waves 1 foot or less. Showers likely with a chance of thunderstorms. Monday, southeast wind 5 to 10 knots. Waves 1 foot or less. A chance of showers. A chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon.
Hello.
Monday night.
Hello out
wind
there.
5 to 10 knots.
People of the world.
Waves around 2 feet until midnight. Then 1 foot or less. A chance of showers and thunderstorms. Winds and seas higher and near thunderstorms.
Hello out there.
Weather radio, all hazards. The voice of the National Weather Service on station WNG 704.
Welcome to the report for today.
On a frequency of 162.425.
I have some stuff to talk about today.
Programming originates from the National Weather Service forecast office in Mount Holly.
I have some stuff to talk about today. As it didn't take me long. It's the top of my ramen. I'm going to talk about some stuff today. And I'm going to eat some ramen if that's okay. If that's alright with you. But we're going to talk about some stuff today. And we're gonna get started with the fact that all right, let's just talk about this, okay? Let's just talk about this a little bit. As you guys know, we've discussed that other dictatorships and stuff like that around the world, where countries have embraced this type of thinking, where it's not democracy, it's not like fact, truth, that sort of thing. Like for the people, by the people, all that sort of thing. Like a real life analogy I could think of is when like a big company decides everything you want in a video game instead of picking the things that you want in that video game. Like just puts a whole bunch of crap in it, and you're like, what the heck is this? And it's they try to defend it endlessly, and it sucks. I mean, again, you didn't want any of that, you didn't ask for it. So it's sort of like that with a dictatorship. It's just like that, where instead of doing it by the gamers, for the gamers, by the people, and for the people, what they do is they just start making a bunch of decisions, put one guy in charge, and now any other country around the world that makes the right decision in life is going to reflect badly on yours. So you're going to have to run all kinds of misinformation on this. Not only that, you're going to have probably a legacy and history of making mistakes, because you don't work well with other people, because you just again, you kind of make stuff up and all that. You're not really being honest with people. So with that being said, let's discuss a little bit about this. Hold on, let me with that being said, listen, I'm not going to let anybody ruin, I mean, I see the confetti and stuff like that. You don't give them the satisfaction. Okay. So, can you tell me all the misinformation you can find that some dictatorships around the world tell their people about the United States that just isn't true at all? Use a specific focus on North Korea and Russia and try to find basic information if you can, such as lying about the geography of other nations. So again, we are talking about North Korea. That is what North Korea looks like. So we're going to again ask this to find some misinformation that they teach to their people, and with a specific focus on North Korea and Russia.
I'll treat misinformation carefully here. I'll separate documented state propaganda claims from broader anti-US narratives, then mark what can be verified as false or misleading. North Korea and Russia will get the most attention. Below are documented examples of anti-US misinformation, disinformation, or heavily misleading propaganda from authoritarian states, with the strongest focus on North Korea and Russia. All is hard because these systems produce propaganda continuously, and North Korea's internal materials are difficult to verify. I've separated well-sourced claims from weaker internet rumors. North Korea, anti-US propaganda and falsehoods. 1. The United States started the Korean War. North Korean propaganda has long claimed that the US provoked or started the Korean War.
No.
A North Korean propaganda book cited by Vox argues that US imperialists planned to occupy Korea and used South Korea as a springboard for aggression. Why it's false. The Korean War began on June 25, 1950, when North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel and invaded South Korea.
No.
The UN condemned the attack and called for North Korean withdrawal.
Yeah.
2. Americans are imperialist wolves and natural enemies of Koreans. North Korean education has historically used dehumanizing anti-American language even in children's materials. A South Korean science news report on North Korean textbooks described older elementary math problems about American imperialist wolves and shooting down US planes. AP reporting also described systematic anti-American indoctrination beginning as early as kindergarten. Why it's misleading. This is not a factual claim about US society. It is enemy image propaganda.
Here we go.
It teaches children to see an entire nationality as subhuman or permanently hostile. Number 3. The US is the axis of evil. North Korean posters have portrayed the United States as the true axis of evil, including imagery of missiles launched from the US toward North Korea. Harvard Yenching Library's poster collection describes an anti-US poster with the tagline, "It is the United States that is the axis of evil." Why it's misleading. The poster turns a political insult into a totalizing moral claim. America is presented not as a rival state with disputed policies, but as the central source of global evil. 4. The US was defeated and began an irreversible decline after the Korean War.
We've always
The North Korean propaganda book summarized by Vox says the US suffered a serious military, political, and moral defeat in Korea and began sliding downhill. Why it's false or misleading. The Korean War ended in an armistice, not a North Korean conquest of South Korea. South Korea remained independent, US-led UN forces remained in the South, and the United States did not collapse or lose its status as a major power. Number 5. The US is always preparing to invade North Korea. North Korean propaganda often frames US-South Korean military cooperation as proof that Washington intends to invade. Analysts at 38 North describe the Puebla ship display as propaganda used to justify the country's hardships and convince its population of America's hostile intentions. Why it's misleading. The US and South Korea do conduct military exercises and maintain an alliance, but North Korean propaganda strips out context. North Korea's own invasion of 1950, missile tests, nuclear program, attacks, and threats are omitted or reframed as purely defensive. North Korea and Geography claims, I found good evidence of geopolitical distortion, but not strong evidence from credible sources that North Korean schools teach a literally false world map, such as America is next to Korea or the US is tiny. Viral social media claims about bizarre North Korean maps exist, but the sources I found were
I'll tell
mostly
why
Facebook,
I said that
Instagram-style
in a minute.
reposts, so I would not treat them as reliable.
I think I
The
know what
verifiable
Russia
basics are:
does.
the United States is in North America, between Canada and Mexico, bordering both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. North Korea is on the northern half of the Korean Peninsula, bordering China, South Korea, and Russia. Russia is the world's largest country by area, roughly 1.8 times the size of the US.
There it is.
So the geography misinformation I'd be comfortable calling documented is less they teach fake
It's the
coordinates,
largest.
and more they use maps and imagery to portray the US as an omnipresent military threat, such as missile imagery from America to Korea. Russia, anti-US disinformation and falsehoods. 1. The US runs secret bioweapons labs in Ukraine. This is one of the clearest modern Russian disinformation narratives. Russian officials and state-linked outlets
No.
have claimed that US-supported Ukrainian public health labs were secretly developing biological weapons.
It's because
The
we
UN
have
said it was not
American
aware of any
scientists there
biological
working
weapons
with them, I
program in
think.
Ukraine.
I
And
think
Reuters
that's why.
reported that
And then
Russia
we have like
presented
US
the claim without
diplomats
evidence.
that have to like
What's true?
make
The
sure
US has
that it's
supported
okay.
public
And
health and
I
biological
think it's
threat
like the sort of
reduction
thing where
work
they
in
have to
Ukraine.
do that. It's like
What's false? That these labs were
You get what
US-run
I'm saying.
secret bioweapons facilities.
make sure it's not that sort of thing.
Have 2. The US creates or spreads diseases. Russia has a long history of biological weapons-related disinformation against the US. West Point's Lieber Institute notes that Soviet-Russian intelligence promoted the false AIDS Fort Detrick narrative in the 1980s, and that later Ukraine biolab claims fit a long pattern of unsupported allegations. Why it's false? These claims rely on innuendo, forged or misrepresented documents, and confusion between public health research and weapons development.
Yeah, of course.
And 3. The West NATO-US
Just-
controls Ukraine as a puppet. The US State Department's Global Engagement Center described Russia's propaganda ecosystem as a coordinated set of official, proxy, and covert channels designed to amplify Kremlin narratives. EUVIS Disinfo similarly describes its work as tracking pro-Kremlin disinformation since 2015. Why it's
Jeez.
misleading. Ukraine has received US and NATO support, but support is not the same as control. The puppet claim is used to deny Ukrainian agency and justify Russian aggression. Nasham 4. Fake or fabricated crisis imagery about the US. Reuters reported US allegations that Russian-linked actors spread misinformation after USS hurricanes, including an AI-generated image of flooded Disney World shared by Russian state-owned RAA on Telegram. The Kremlin denied the accusation. Why it matters. These stories are not always meant to convince people of one detailed lie. Often the goal is to create a fog of distrust. Nothing is knowable. All governments lie. America is collapsing, and democracy cannot handle crises. Hammer 5. AI-generated fake news targeting US
That's
institutions.
the propaganda
A Washington Post
tool.
report summarized an Institute for Strategic Dialogue finding that a Russian disinformation campaign known as Operation Overload Matryoshka used fabricated videos and phony news clips, including a false claim that USAID paid celebrities to boost Ukraine's president. Why it's false? These are fabricated media products masquerading as journalism, often designed to make USAID,
No one
elections,
would wanna
NATO,
do
or
that.
Ukraine policy look corrupt or fake. Other authoritarian state examples. China, COVID came from the US military/Fort Detrick. Chinese officials and state-linked actors amplified claims that the US military brought COVID-19 to Wuhan or that Fort Detrick was involved. The Atlantic Council's DFR lab documented China reviving the conspiracy theory blaming the US for COVID-19. Research on Chinese social media
Well, of
found
course.
COVID origin conspiracy
'Cause China
narratives on
started
Weibo
it.
often assigned more blame to the US than to China.
Yeah.
Iran fabricated or exaggerated claims about US actions and military outcomes.
COVID started in
NewsGuard
China.
has tracked false claims spread Iranian state-affiliated media around conflicts involving the US, Israel, and Iran. In 2026, NewsGuard reported that Iranian outlets increasingly used AI-doctored images to spread false claims. Reuters also reported that the White House called an Iranian state TV claim about a US-Iran Memorandum of Understanding a complete fabrication. The common pattern, authoritarian anti-US propaganda, tends to repeat a few themes. America is secretly weak. The US is portrayed as collapsing, poor, chaotic, or unable
I
to
don't know how
survive
much
crises.
Iran is lying about
America is secretly all-powerful.
the
The US is also
but
blamed for wars, diseases, protests, coups, disasters,
Russia
and
and
domestic unrest around the world.
Russia and
America is morally
North
monstrous.
Korea.
North Korea uses dehumanizing language like imperialist wolves. Russia often uses biolabs, Nazis, puppet state, and CIA plot frames. America's allies have no agency. South Korea, Ukraine, Japan, NATO states, and others are often portrayed as US puppets rather than independent countries with their own interests. Maps and geography are used symbolically. North Korean posters and Russian narratives often use geography to create a feeling of encirclement or threat, even when the basic geography is not literally falsified.
So, North Korea is like the size of one of our smaller states, or like medium-sized states, sort of like small to medium size. It would actually be a bunch of smaller states, I think. I think we talked about this before. So that's something that I think that they do with the geography a little bit, is try to confuse them on the actual size. So all you'd have to know is, again, if I'm looking directly even at the United States here, like I am, where we have the fires and stuff like that here, even if we're just looking at this, and I go down here and we just look at the coast here, so like if we look sort of generally where I am in Pennsylvania here, around here, and then I were to sort of kind of drive down this way, it would take me quite literally about 18 hours to reach Florida. And it would take me nearly 2 days to reach California. So, I got news for you. If you drive end to end in North Korea, I mean, some of those roads, they're stupid, but it's only gonna, I mean, maybe 8 hours, right? If it's a dumb road or something like that, maybe. Okay, that's from here to North Carolina or Virginia. That's it. So North Korea fits between Pennsylvania and North Carolina, basically. That's the size of North Korea. If you're looking at that map right there, it basically would fit right here. That's about the size of North Korea. This is the United States. That. All of that. And Alaska, and Hawaii, which is down here, and some of this. So, by the way, Venezuela is probably bigger than North Korea. I'm pretty sure Venezuela is bigger than North Korea. Pretty sure. Can I see that from here? I can. That's Venezuela. Pretty sure it's bigger. It might be about the size of both of them, North and South. Okay. So, I also think that Russia may run misinformation and try to confuse Russians to think that Canada is not a country at all. That we just say that or something like that. I'm not really sure why. I just get this feeling, but I promise you, Canada is a country with states of their own. Okay, Ontario is an example. It is completely another country, with its own flag, and its own people, and you know they speak English. They do. Okay, they do, but they're Canadian. And you need a passport to go there. You can't I mean, it's literally another country. So I think that's what they do. I think they confuse the North American continent and try to say this is all like North America. So again, this is Mexico here. So there, that if that's Texas, that's Mexico. Okay. So I don't know if they're doing that, but you know, like that's the sort of thing where it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like they do because it's called North America. That's the continent. But it's Canada, it's Canada, the United States, Mexico, and Central America too. Central America's right here. So like that's all that. That's not the United States. That's not the United States. And just because it's called Central America does not mean it's the United States. That's not what it means. Not even close. Those are not states. They're countries. Look at my concurrence just sitting at 2 all of a sudden. Isn't that interesting? Well, that's interesting. But that's fascinating stuff. So anyway, let me also clear something else up. Since that's North Korea, that is South Korea. Plenty of cities there. It's all built up. You know, if anything, it's a lot more like the United States than a lot of other countries are. And just north of that is complete polar opposite. Full-on dictatorship. Lies, misinformation. The stuff we were just talking about. Where they teach kids, you know, that Americans are American bastards. You know, they're not just American, they're American bastards. Okay? That's a dictatorship. So, you know, it means making people stupid. It means going backwards. It means taking stuff like this away, instrumentation, and you know, again, the rich people will have it. They'll have it, but you won't. Nobody will. Nobody will have anything. Then I said, is this the limit of what you can find? Or is there anything else?
There is more to find. I'll broaden the search beyond the examples above, but I'll keep the bar high. Documented claims from state media, school materials, official statements, or reputable disinformation monitors, not just viral anecdotes. No, there's definitely more. My earlier answer was a starter set, not the limit. After checking further, I'd add these categories and examples. North Korea, more documented anti-US misinformation. 1. Anti-American indoctrination is embedded across school subjects, not just political lessons. 38 North cites analysis of 77 North Korean textbooks published from 2013 to 2015 and confirmed in use in 2017. Examples included a first-grade morality textbook showing a soldier shooting at American soldier targets with a caption meaning "Beat the American bastards," and a high school textbook calling American imperialists the Korean people's sworn enemy. Up 2. North Korea teaches the US as an existential enemy, even when public diplomacy softens. 38 North found that KCNA's anti-American vocabulary dropped sharply after the 2018 Singapore summit, but internal education and class education infrastructure remained in place. Later, by 2025, public school-related messaging again included warnings that illusions about the enemy mean death. 3. South Korea is an American colony's puppet. 38 North cites a 2019 Daily NK report based on internal party lecture materials that described South Korea as an American colony, even while North Korea's external-facing state media had softened its wording. That is misleading because South Korea is a sovereign state with its own elections, parties, economy, military, courts and foreign policy, even though it has a military alliance with the US. 4. The regime tries to block ordinary geography, culture knowledge from the outside world. North Korea does not only push false claims, it also prevents correction. 38 North reports that the regime has intensified crackdowns on outside information and culture, including South Korean media, USBs, DVDs, SD cards, and even phone records. It says recent laws explicitly mention the death penalty for some outside information offences. This matters for geography. Even when the regime is not literally teaching fake maps, it restricts the information people would use to compare propaganda with reality. 5.
Jeez.
Sinchon Museum atrocity claims are used as anti-US political education.
For having like a DVD
the Sinchon
or
Museum
something.
of American War Atrocities presents the US as responsible for mass atrocities in Sinchon during the Korean War. A 2024 International Journal of Korean History article says North Korea has used the memory of the Sinchon massacre to stir anti-American sentiment and promote regime integration. This is a tricky case. Civilians really were killed in Korea, but North Korea's official version is presented as a simplified morality tale in which Americans are the singular monstrous enemy, while historians dispute details of responsibility and scale.
No, see, that's messed up.
Russia, more examples. 6. The US needs a big war in Europe to avoid its own collapse. EU's Disinfo records a pro-Kremlin claim that the US supposedly wants a major European war to prevent banking collapse, and that civil war is already underway in America. EUVIS Disinfo identifies this as a recurring pro-Kremlin narrative about imminent US collapse. 7. A civil war is already happening in the United States. EUVIS Disinfo documents this specific claim and says there is no basis for saying a US civil war is ongoing or imminent. The same narrative portrays Russia as a possible model for American conservatives. 8. The United States is collapsing and is no longer a real country. EU's Disinfo has tracked claims that America is disintegrating economically, socially and spiritually. It describes imminent collapse as a recurring pro-Kremlin disinformation narrative. Other 9. The Pentagon runs hundreds of offensive bioweapons labs around Russia. EU's Disinfo records claims that the Pentagon has around 400 biological laboratories conducting offensive programs near Russia and elsewhere. It identifies this as part of a long-discredited Kremlin narrative about US-funded biolabs. 10. US biolabs are making ethnic weapons to kill Slavs Russians. This is one of the more extreme Russian claims. EUVIS Disinfo has documented versions saying US biolabs are developing agents targeting Slavic populations or ethnic groups using DNA samples. It says these claims are unsupported and part of a repeated pro-Kremlin biolabs narrative. 11. The US created COVID-19
well, of course,
in Ukraine.
Because they're the ones
ES
doing
Disinfo
it, so
records
like,
a claim that COVID-19
well, we'll just say the
and
US
biological
is doing
weapons
it.
against Slavic peoples were created in US-linked Ukrainian labs. It describes the claim as false and notes that Ukrainian labs are controlled by Ukraine, not the US, and that the US-Ukraine cooperation was about reducing biological threats. 12. The US is persecuting white Americans and preparing racial civil war. EUVIS Disinfo documents pro-Kremlin claims that white Americans are being demonized, suppressed, or treated as second-class citizens, and identifies the broader racial war collapse framing as a recurring pro-Kremlin narrative. 13. The US controls Belarus-Ukraine as anti-Russian weapons.
So now we know
EU's
why
Disinfo
there's
records claims that the
racial
US uses
tensions all the
Belarus
time.
as an anti-Russian Trojan horse, and pairs that with claims that the US is racist, fascist, and on the verge of self-destruction. This is similar to the Ukraine is a US puppet narrative. It denies the agency of smaller countries by reducing them to tools of Washington. China. More examples, 14. The US military brought COVID-19 to Wuhan.
Probably the very
DFR
reason.
lab documented Chinese officials and state-linked messaging reviving a conspiracy theory that the US Army brought COVID-19 to Wuhan during the 2019 Military World Games. COVID came from Fort Detrick. WBUR reported that Chinese propaganda makers amplified rumors that COVID-19 originated at Fort Detrick, a US Army research facility in Maryland. This is not the same as saying every question about COVID origins is false.
No.
Rather, the specific claim that the US Army Fort Detrick caused or exported COVID was pushed without solid evidence. Iran, more examples. 16. False wartime claims using AI-generated or manipulated images. NewsGuard reported in June 2026 that it had identified 117 false claims related to the Iran conflict, with themes pushing a pro-Iran agenda and increasingly using fabricated AI imagery.
Jesus.
17. Iranian state-affiliated outlets increasingly used AI-doctored images during conflict involving the US and Israel. Euronews, citing NewsGuard, reported that after US and Israeli attacks on Iran in February 2026, Iranian outlets increasingly used AI-doctored images to spread false claims. On the specific fake geography angle, I still would not confidently claim that North Korea or Russia commonly teach obviously fake geography, such as the United States is tiny, America is next to Korea, or other continents don't exist, because I did not find reliable documentation for that. The better supported finding is North Korea and Russia use geopolitical map-like narratives, not necessarily fake physical maps. They portray the US as surrounding, colonizing, infecting, manipulating, or preparing to attack other countries. That can create a false mental map of the world. America as the hidden hand behind South Korea, Ukraine, NATO, disease outbreaks, protests, racial conflict, and wars. So yes, there's much more. But the strongest documented misinformation is about history, war, disease, national collapse, puppet state claims, and moral demonization, rather than basic geography.
So all the shit that they're doing, they're just blaming on the US. That's basically a summary of what we just got fed. That's it, man. That's the summary. You know, and even when you boil it down to like, you know, like the capital punishment, you know, for people daring to bring a movie in from outside. Oh man, guys, he's got Caddyshack on DVD. He's a terrorist. He's got... I was trying to think of like an old ass movie. They're not gonna even have... They're probably not even gonna have anything new. Like, they're gonna have just like this old crap anyway, probably. Regardless, I can't believe, you know, like, just, it's a movie. So, like, their world is so different, showing them a movie would show them a completely other world, and so many things about that world as basic information would be incorrect to theirs. They would start adding it up, even from a fictional movie. That's why that's outlawed. Like, that's what you have to realize about that. You know, like everything else, you know, like, all right, well, Russia, they just want to make chemical weapons, so they just blame it on the US and put a bunch of sites around Moscow. Duh! Obviously, that's why. You know, but, like, with that stuff, that's more like, you know, they need to keep the lie alive. And, you know, even, you know, Idiocracy, somebody mentioned Idiocracy, for example. Well, I mean, jeez, I mean, if they happen to see that one of all, you know, so, you know, like, imagine if the dictator got its way over there. That's probably what he's worried about. He's probably worried about, like, you know, like something like that, obviously. The dictator, I think, wasn't that like mainly like wasn't that Netflix? Or was that before all that? Or maybe it only came out on Netflix because of the I just know it was really controversial. And so like it's stuff like that. If you've never seen or not The Dictator, not The Dictator. I'm thinking of Sacha Baron Cohen. Is it The Dictator? What the what why can I not think of the Seth Rogen James Franco movie? You guys know what I'm talking about. That one. Where they go to North Korea and all that shit. And my boy is playing Kim Jong Un. Love that dude. Freaking amazing actor. No, it was a good movie. It was so funny, but like it was great. But very controversial, and I mean, obviously if that was something that we're talking about, then they're gonna feel a certain type of way about that, because obviously that's gonna undo some stuff. That's gonna do it probably. Um so yeah, but I mean, like, good. Like, I just obviously the point is, like, if it naturally occurs, good. Yes, that's evolution. That's people figuring stuff out. You're supposed to allow that. That's your natural culture. That people are inspired, then they do their own thing. Doesn't look like Walmart and Chick-fil-A. Crying out loud. Like, yeah, movies, Hollywood, sure. Broadway, sure. For musicians, absolutely. But not again, not what wasn't it just like just like a bunch of random objects too? Like, wasn't there like an air conditioner or something? Like, what, who, this guy is he all there? So speaking of which, let's get on that. Speaking of which, let's move our attention on over. Let's move our attention on over to this guy right here. We got to move our attention on over to this guy right here. All right, let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Where is it? Maybe it's, what the heck? Sorry, give me a sec. I lost my spot. I don't know what happened to my oh, maybe it was in here. Yeah, I found it. Okay. All right. So, I know I've mentioned this before. I know we've talked about this before, but this is coming back, okay? So there are reports coming out that this guy spent, like, what was it, like over 400 million, something like that, 450. It was somewhere like that, ballpark-ish, on this plane that he was gifted from Qatar. Okay, we've talked about this before. You don't, as the president of the United States, a representative of our government of the highest degree, you don't accept, especially something. And look, I understand at the time we were talking about how Boeing had all this huge issue and it's embarrassing. I get that. But you don't then turn around and go, well, the Middle Easterners, they're just better than Americans. They got a plane. And then you throw $400 million into it and say, oh, yeah, they did it. No, you fucking did that with us and then gave them credit. What the hell, man? That's what you were supposed to do for us. That's why you were the billionaire that all these douchebags swirling around behind me elected. That's why. That's why. That's why. They're that desperate. They thought that you'd do that for us. He did it for Middle Easterners. The people that we made fun of in Team America. Durka, Muhammad Jihad. That's who he took a plane from. And literally spent $400 million. The same people that Osama bin Laden, all again, well, this is who we're talking about. They're people that Al Qaeda is down there. Okay? They have people here. So anyway, I'm done with a little freak out, but wake up. Wake up. Now let's talk about how illegal it was for Donald Trump to have accepted a plane from Qatar. And not only that, spent tax dollars to properly fit it for him. Can you give me the details on all that and just how legal it isn't?
I'll treat this as a legal political fact check rather than assuming the conclusion. What was offered, accepted, who owns it now, what taxpayer spending was approved, and which laws or constitutional rules may apply.
Forgot to turn my head like
there are
this when I
serious
talk.
legal
Sorry.
problems here, but I'd phrase it carefully. It is not yet definitively illegal in the sense of a court judgment. It is very plausibly unconstitutional or unlawful depending on the exact ownership path, congressional approval, and funding authority.
Oh, get over yourself. I
Here's
make
the
fun of
breakdown.
Americans every fucking day.
What happened, as reported?
Get over
Trump has now
yourselves.
flown on a retrofitted
Stop
Boeing
using the
747
racist card.
worth about
Get over
$400 million
yourselves.
that was gifted by Qatar and converted for use as Air Force One. AP reports that the jet is temporary until Boeing delivers the long-delayed replacement Air Force One aircraft, and that Trump has previously said the Qatari plane would eventually end up in a presidential library. AP also reports the Air Force says it spent less than $400 million
Yep,
on
the entire
security
movie's
upgrades
racist.
and did little to
Surprise.
change the cabin layout.
That's what's funny about it.
The most obvious legal issue is the Foreign
Everybody's like,
Emoluments
oh, we can't make
Clause.
racist jokes.
The Constitution says no person holding an office of profit or trust under the United States may, without congressional consent, accept any
Just
present, emolument, office, or
Just have to do it
title
with puppets
from
and
a foreign
cartoons.
state. A $400 million
Cleveland.
luxury aircraft from Qatar is exactly the kind of foreign government benefit that triggers that anti-corruption concern. The administration's likely defense is Trump personally did not accept it. The US government
People are
accepted
stupid.
it for official use. That matters because the Foreign Gifts and Decorations Act allows some foreign gifts over minimal value to be accepted on behalf of the United States,
Some.
become U.S. property,
So
and
that's
be
how he's gonna do it.
deposited with the agency for official use or
Yeah.
disposal.
Yeah, there it is.
GSA's current guidance says foreign gifts over
There it is.
$525 belong to the United States
What a
and
bitch.
must be turned over to the agency. But that defense gets much weaker if the plan is use taxpayer money to retrofit the plane for Trump, then transfer it to Trump's presidential library after his term. That starts to look less like a gift to the United States.
I
and
can't
more
roll
like a
my
foreign
eyes
government
hard
giving
enough.
Trump a hugely valuable personal legacy asset, laundered through official use first. Senators Warren, Schiff, Duckworth, Markey, and others made exactly that argument in an August 2025 letter, saying the aircraft would be used by the government only briefly and then donated to Trump's presidential library. The taxpayer spending issue is separate. Spending public money to make a presidential aircraft secure is not automatically illegal. Presidents need secure aircraft. But the legality depends on whether the Air Force used properly appropriated funds and followed reprogramming rules. Defense One reported that Air Force officials were vague about the source and cost, that one estimate was about $400 million, and that the administration had
know.
discussed using L3 Harris for the
He's like
conversion.
confirming all that.
ABC reported
He's
the
like, "It's a guitar."
refurbishment cost was
Guitar.
classified, while lawmakers speculated it could be as high as $1
That's how
billion.
racist this guy is.
The most alarming funding allegation is that
Like, not
money
a
may
joke.
have been
Like,
redirected
he's actually
from the Sentinel
racist.
nuclear missile
He'll actually
modernization
treat him
program.
different.
The Warren-led letter said press reports indicated that $934 million
Is it really that was
previously
down?
appropriated for Sentinel had been deemed excess to need and could be used for other classified programs, including the Qatar jet retrofit. The lawmakers asked whether any of that money did or would pay for the retrofit. The Guardian similarly reported Democratic concerns that nuclear modernization money could be diverted to the aircraft conversion. So how legal isn't it? I'd grade it like this. Most legally dangerous. If the plane ends up controlled by Trump personally, his foundation, or his presidential library as a result of Qatar's gift. That is the strongest foreign emoluments clause problem. Very legally questionable. Accepting the gift without explicit congressional consent, especially because the Constitution's text requires congressional consent for foreign presence to covered officials. Potentially unlawful, but fact-dependent. Using funds appropriated for other defense purposes, such as Sentinel, unless the Pentagon had valid transverse reprogramming authority and gave required notice or obtained approval. Not automatically illegal by itself. The U.S. government accepting a foreign gift for official use, if it truly becomes U.S. property, is reported, is used, disposed of under the Foreign Gifts and Decorations Act, and does not personally benefit Trump after office. My bottom line, calling it corrupt-looking and constitutionally suspect is well supported. Calling it already adjudicated illegal goes beyond what's been proven publicly. The key legal hinge is whether this was genuinely a gift to the United States or a foreign government benefit to Trump routed through the government.
Okay, that was a lot. Whew. Yeah, so let me I mean, come on, guys. We got to get over this racial joke stuff. Listen, we have all these cartoons and everybody that since before. I mean, come on, racial jokes were pretty common in the 80s, actually. And so you got to get over the fact that, people are going to make these jokes and it's actually okay. The thing that's racist is when you take that and you actually treat a group of people differently based on that whatever stereotype or joke that you're using, okay? So if you do that, you're the racist one, okay? So what I'm pointing out is Trump would actually be that guy to listen to what I just said and be like, oh wait, that was who they made fun of? Oh shit, I didn't even know. Oh my God, we shouldn't have accepted a plane. Oh my God. Like that would be the decision. You know what I mean? Like that's my point. It wouldn't. My point is that, like, it's just a joke. Like, so what? Their language sounds hilarious to us. It sounds like Durka Durka and stuff like that. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's literally what it sounds like. Why is that not funny? It's not racist. It sounds like that. It's very foreign. That's it. You know, it's just like when I go America and I sit here and I'm picking on the fact that we got 2, 2, and 2, and the English language is stupid. And that's why we're dumb, actually, because of our language. Yeah, America. So, you know, I mean, we can all sit here and have problems with racial jokes and stuff. I mean, Jesus, they said, I'm lonely. So lonely. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, come on. You're really gonna say that's not a joke at how their accent is? And okay, all right. The whole movie is like jokes like that, and it's funny. I mean, it's just stereotypes. But anyway, the point is that we got to get over that stuff, and the only way that you're going to get over it is by acknowledging that you've already accepted all this stuff X amount of time. You've accepted it. And then now suddenly you're going to try to be all racist and stuff. No, that's the disinformation. You don't care. You don't care. You don't. If it's a joke, it's just a joke. Okay? Racist is when you have a set of questions for somebody because they're black, instead of the same set of questions you'd ask somebody who's white. You know, like on an interview or something like that's racist. I personally think. You know, it's stuff like that. Okay? So that's the stuff you got to stop doing. You can say jokes and stuff like that, but don't bring somebody on, you know, that's clearly, you know, like, be normal. Don't make a joke then. You know, like, don't use then to make the joke. Make it after. Make it some other time. Don't bring somebody on right then and be like, let's talk about how Morgan Freeman said that Obama isn't black. Now he has to explain it and have a reaction. Damn it, you're not getting it. I'm not trying to be rude. He's not trying to be rude, but you're just not getting it. You can make your jokes. Stop doing it just to book him for it. He's better than that. He's God from Bruce Almighty, damn it. If there was one guy in all of acting that pulled off God, damn it, it was Morgan Freeman, that's for sure. Anyway, I'm just saying, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, there was another one that I liked as God too, but have you seen Dogma? I don't want any spoilers. I liked that. That was probably just as epic. I like that. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. Of course, the what is it, like the epic or deluxe edition cover ruins it. So, the normal original cover didn't ruin it. Cause you know you got Matt Damon, he's on there. You got Ben Affleck on there, and you know all of them on there and all that. You know, Alan Rickman, I think, was even on that cover. Brilliant Alan Rickman. And just phenomenal movie. Matt Damon played Loki, by the way. That's why that was funny that he was Loki in Thor. That's why that was fucking funny. Nobody got it. I had to explain it to a few people in the theater. I'm like, you know he's Loki, right? Like, that's why it's funny. Ha, ha. I'm such a nerd. So anyway, where the fuck was I going with that? Oh yeah, good. Good portrayal of God in that one too. Loved the actor they went for that. So I would highly recommend watching that, not spoiling the cameo if you haven't seen it, and you don't like spoilers. But if you don't care, you can just look it up. So anyway, let's talk about how stupid it is to, again, we're talking about the Middle East. We're talking about, listen, we have never been friends with any, this is why I say this. We've never really been friendly with that part of the world, okay? Israel's always riling things up. Russia's always riling things up, okay? That's why I'm talking about it like that, all right? It's not their fault. They don't have substantial governments and stuff like that. And oftentimes the people don't get what they need. And that has a lot to do with it. Where they can't they have developmental problems and stuff like that. And so therefore the rich people are like the only ones that can, you get what I'm saying? Like it's just this huge divide, sort of like what Donald is creating here. So again, truthfully, I mean, it really is it just comes down to understanding that, these countries just haven't had a chance for a long time. So it would be nice if the United States could help with that. And that's what we always did. We would always not, have military presence, stuff like that, because we have a lot of people, Americans, that go to countries and help, missions trips and stuff like that. This is what America's about. This is how we help, and it's individuals, and churches, or just things like that, where it's not for profit. It's for them. It's to help them because their country can't afford it, or refuses to afford it. Basically. So that's yeah. You have to understand it has more to do with that. And so. Anyway, if anything, if anything, Team America is just the perfect analogy for how stupid some shit in America is. but fuck yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and discuss a little bit of something else here. Little bit of, all right, so we talked about, again, how we did talk about how you shouldn't accept a plane from Qatar because, again, Al-Qaeda groups and stuff like that. I understand that Qatar has good relations with us for the most part, and has been a neutral sort of party and stuff. I understand that. But what I'm saying with that is you don't accept those things because it sends the wrong message to these other groups. Do you understand? Like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, these Al-Qaeda groups and these terrorists that are there, that are much like the people that you do want to make fun of, that are just terrible people, they are going to respond if they see, again, us going there, and we're not, it's not to help, it's not to, it's more like, again, rich people getting richer, and just, he takes a plane and stuff like that. It sends the wrong message. And so that's the freaking point. It all adds up, man. So anyway, in other news. Oh, and also, why wouldn't he just take a Boeing and put some funds into that and be like, all right, well, we're going to fix this, and put some federal funding into helping Boeing? So like Obama did with the bailouts and stuff, But no, he's gonna just be like, well, we're just gonna, Qatar, they gave us a plane, so we're gonna take that and we're gonna do that. So anyway, the point is, obviously, there's way better ways of going about that, and in other news, the Matt Damon and Jimmy Kimmel feud stays alive, you guys. As you know, we've talked about this before. The Matt Damon and Jimmy Kimmel feud stays alive, you guys. So you should go check it out. Check out the feud, and I want to assure you, this is a friendship that is okay. Just again, a feud for the fun of it. Okay, jokey joke. Okay, all right. So for those idiots out there that don't understand a joke when they see one, again, the feud is great. It's been long going. It's hilarious. Included Tom Brady and Ben Affleck at times. So, highly recommend checking it out and following it. Go way back. It goes way back to, I'm not gonna tell you everything. I just, where it started was essentially when Kimmel first had his show way back. Not the Late Show, but a different show, I think. And he didn't have enough time for Matt Damon. He ran out of time. But as the story goes, it's not like he really actually had him scheduled or anything. So, but you gotta watch the feud, and it's pretty funny. So that they're keeping that alive, and it's hilarious, and Matt Damon is a way better actor than people give him credit for sometimes, I think. Yeah, I guess that's it for that. No reason to sit here and dwell on this shit. Okay. Let me see something here. What else do I... Okay, so I was talking to the the AI a little bit, where it's just, sort of kind of going back and forth with, like the concepts and whatnot of what he's doing with this plane. And, I'll be honest with you, to me, this seems almost like a way out. Like if something actually happens, like what if he could just use this stupid plane now to, like, flee the country, essentially, with his, like, Secret Service and stuff, and you know, essentially it's an Air Force One. We wouldn't really be able to do much about it. What if that's the plan? You know what I mean? Like essentially having this very much, you know, done his way, and I don't know. I think it was just a way for him to get his own plane made. You know what I mean? How George W. Bush had his own plane. Um but it, like, you know, it was the sort of thing where it was just time to update it. So that was that was a lot of why they did that. Um yeah, I just obviously Boeing, you know, when the updates needed to happen, I just, you know, that plane from them instead of Boeing, instead of fixing the problem, we just create a different one. America. That has Team America written all over it, man. That movie's great. Yeah, I guess that's all I need to talk about with that. I was trying to think if there's anything. I mean, I did talk briefly, you know, we discussed, and you know, again, you know, we see the you guys see the meddling with the views today. I mean, like we discussed this before, where, you know, just like on somebody else's stream, you know, in an earlier, they used the excuse that it was that I said the Team America joke. So that was why I went down that route. I wanted to see if, as I started like explaining this, talking about racial jokes and stuff like that, if we would start shifting the bit rate around. But again, all that's happened essentially is just that we're lying about the amount of people actually in the stream to affect the trending. So if you remember, I've talked about this where all they're doing is it's that grayed out live, and I showed you the evidence on these past several streams where if you click the live, it just grays it out and says you're not here. Well, if you remember, I spent the last stream, the very latest stream I did, insulting YouTube, yelling at them, and stuff like that. So what has happened right after doing that? Where they're again just scamming the stream, lying about views, blatantly removing likes, blatantly taking it down to one concurrent, where it's obvious that this is the normal. We normally have more traffic. You would see that. Blatantly just lying about the traffic right after that stream, where you guys know we sat here and very blatantly made YouTube guilty, looked very guilty, and yelled at YouTube for exactly what they deserve to be yelled at for. And then what happened? Exactly right after that, the very next stream, this stream, what happened? You know, again, we're very prepared. It's the same sort of thing that we've been doing on some of these other ones, where again, it's just consistent viewership. But all of a sudden, right after a stream, the very next stream, where again, we've already talked about how YouTube is doing all of this. YouTube is the one not getting rid of this impersonation scammer that's stealing all of my content, reposting it, doxing me, my family, personal private information for the sake of laundering money through YouTube's monetization systems. And they're enabling this person to do this. They're lying. And again, all in the this, you know, again, all in the stream where I'm talking about this, and you guys know there are people in here watching and stuff like that. And you know, We make them look very guilty. We very obviously blame YouTube. What happens right after that? What happens? What do they do? What is blatantly YouTube doing in the very next stream here? What do they do? The very next stream. You guys remember that? It was just last night. The very last stream we did. So now what do they do? No views. 1 viewer. Oh, now we go up to 2. And now it's just 3 likes. Yeah. I believe you, YouTube. No, there's more in here. It's just taking everybody to that little grayed out live, breaking that little feature that has everybody live. Where again, if you click that little button that says live, the little red thing, it'll automatically gray out and put you to the not live. So again, they can later on remove a huge chunk of views and lie about who was in here. Because again, I am documenting, it is on the screen. So, if they're able to get it to look like there wasn't anybody in here. And remember how we've been showing you evidence, stream after stream after stream, of thousands of views being removed days after my stream's posted. I'll do a Forza Horizon 6 stream. It'll get 1.1 thousand views. Days later, it'll go down to 103 and halt there and just stop there and just be sitting right there. Interesting, right? And right as I'm saying this, right as I'm calling this out, and I'm talking about this, I watch my my likes go from 3 to 2. I watch a like be removed in real time. Just the instant that I say this. Pretty fascinating stuff, isn't it? So, you know, I mean, we have been talking about this for quite some time, as you guys know. You know, this is nothing new. But you know, just if you guys remember, this is one of them where, if you can see there, we have the 1.1, the 1,000 on the AI space pictures for sleep and meditation, and 1.1 thousand on Elden Ring there. If you guys remember that. Okay, so there's one example. All right. So now I'm going to show you those two same streams, but later. Okay. There you go. So 34 views, and it says streamed 4 hours ago. And then the one after that has 1.5 thousand. Okay. But all those came off too. So again, just literally thousands of views being removed by YouTube all the time to lie about my trending, because they're doing all this. They're breaking all my stuff, and I'm telling you about it. I'm telling you what YouTube does to cancel people. They just break your shit and will never fix it. It's literally YouTube. So let's go ahead and see there it's removed there. See, my Elden Ring stream now has gone down to 59 views. See, it was at 1.5 thousand, if you remember. Now it's lost them. Okay, there it's at 59 there, as you can see. And then now there's that new one, 1,000 views there for that one. And obviously they came off that one too. I don't have one for that, but if you would go look at it, it's not there now anyway. So it came off. So that's, you know, obviously conclusive there. So, you know, you have plenty of examples of this happening. If you want another, there's Forza Horizon 6, 1.1 thousand. Okay, Forza Horizon 6, so freaking good, 1.1 thousand. Okay, so good stream. I'm talking about it being good, 1.1 thousand. Tons of people watching. It's so freaking good. We had a good stream probably, and again, there's okay. So then they remove all these views. Oh wait, that's the same one. Is that the same one? Oh no, it was this one. Hold on. There it is. Forza Horizon 6, so freaking good. 42 views. See how it's now gone basically a day later. Forza Horizon 6. So freaking good. 42 views instead of the over 1,000. And again, it was halted. It had more than that too. I think that was the one where we saw, you know, just hundreds at all times. So it would have had thousands. But, you know, again, we had the scammer shifting the bitrate around, attacking the device. So again, it's just YouTube using this person to break your stuff. And it's probably that same person that's been spamming your chat with things that you don't like and stuff like that. It's literally that type of stuff. So yeah, as you can see, you know, there's your firsthand example. And, you know, again, this is just the person doing this, I was able to deduce is the same person again, that is literally, you know, doing that impersonation channel and stuff like that. You know, obviously there's a reason they're able to get all of that and do all of those things. You know, again, stealing my content, not having anything to show for it. You know, obviously that, you know, that's very serious. And, you know, again, they're clearly sitting here breaking all of this. So, you know, again, it's important to remember that, I have been able to figure that out. I have reported it to YouTube, and they don't do anything. So it's important to remember that right after that stream, where I very, very much was, you know, showing you guys, you know, something and stuff like that. Oh, they were taking advantage. And so, like, it's the sort of thing where the scammer that's behind the scenes and stuff like that, the scammers, I should say, that are networked behind the scenes, rigging all of this and changing YouTube systematically, you know, they're doing it for everybody. They're breaking it for everybody. They are literally sitting here breaking your stuff just to get more information, just to get a reaction out of you, get more information. Every time something of mine breaks, you know, oftentimes, yeah, actually, it is about every time something breaks, where it's something, you know, visual here. It's very clear that it's to, you know, get me to reveal personal information and stuff like that, you know, where they're minus some information or something, and you know, there's problems. So, you know, just put that together, recognize that, see that, you know, everybody's having, you know, it's not just me, everybody's having these issues, but I have been putting it together for years and they've just been attacking me. You know, and literally every time I prove this, all they do is try to remove all the evidence and again try to get better at hiding it. Where again they just break shit and break shit and break shit. So again, just like taking the stream down to absolutely no viewers, just like this, where right here there's one, and again we saw a third like, and viewers respond to this, and you know, again, as soon as we start proving it and getting down the path of very obviously, you know, talking about how illegal all of this is, and you know who it all might be affecting, how it's affecting like so many people on the platform, they're gonna start removing that and trying to pretend like, you know, again, you know, those that trending wasn't here, those views aren't here, those likes aren't here, and you know, again, you see that, just like, you know, right as I say this, you know, I'm seeing 0, and I'm trying to even refresh this, and they're doing everything they can to try to break that. You see how it took extra long to refresh too? Yeah, now it's completely broken. So like that's what they're doing. So now they're breaking the concurrent counter entirely. And we've seen this before too. That's it. Literally as soon as I called that out, they break this concurrent counter. You know, again, trying to remove it from the screen. And this is the point, you know, it's just a scam to further try to prevent me from showing you how many views are actually in here, so that they don't have to, so that they don't, you know, like, I'm not keeping track of them. They can lie about them better. That's why that concurrent counter has been on the screen. That's why they want it off the screen. That's why they try to get it down to 0. That's why you just saw it freeze. It just froze just now and then went down to 0. You really think it's actually 0? You literally just saw it completely froze, disappear for X amount of time, and it's just stuck at 0 now. No, this is lying. It's complete removal and lying and stealing of my live views. So, and it's literally because they're staring at my screen. They want me to look at stuff, and they want it on my screen. And so here I'm looking at 2 concurrents, but they're really trying to break this and show it at nothing. See that? See how it's really responding very slow? It's not even showing it. It's just responding very slow. So that's them trying to break that on purpose, like permanently. That is YouTube. And this is what they do. You know, again, I'm literally refreshing this, and it takes this long. It just says 0, even though it's 2. It takes that long. So this is what they're trying to do. I got to contact my lawyer about this. You know, this is just the latest thing that YouTube is breaking. So every last thing that YouTube breaks that, you know, again, just like video games, you've seen video games breaking. Brotato, Hitman 3, Hearthstone, tons of games over the years they have broken, where it was to the point that I could not even fucking play it. To the point that I could not even play it. Literally would not launch, like unique glitches. Brotato, the one day we were playing it on stream, and right before I was about to accomplish a win and get some achievements and stuff like that, and maybe help some people, you know, in a guide progress, the thing that would have promoted the stream, sort of like what you saw with Vampire Survivors before. They literally sat here and broke Brotato in such a way that as soon as I tried to launch the next wave, the very second that I hit the button to launch the wave, it would just quit the game. Every time. And I had to literally just abandon the run. I physically could not continue. It would just endlessly do that. I sat there for several minutes showing you all it was doing was quitting the game instead of starting the next wave. The game doesn't just suddenly, all of a sudden, break its own button and just start quitting the game. No, it's just like everything else that we've seen, where they're literally sitting here and hacking into my device and causing those problems. And again, in Trump's administration, where his FBI is fucking stupid and just doesn't do anything, they're just getting away with this. So this is what's going on. And it's been game after game after game. We've seen things in Elden Ring actually break. Like actually break. I remember there were times, again, if you remember, where they broke they broke it to the point where it was seeming like it was going to run at, like, you know, 30 FPS or 40 FPS like all the other games run, instead of the solid 60. And again, like I said, they even broke it to that too. Originally it was well above that. But the one day it was really, and they were really making it seem like it was like this spot and this spot. And all I did was stop the stream and restart the stream. Like, all I did was stop the stream and it was fine. And literally, I restarted the stream and it just wasn't happening anymore. Like literally, they were just doing this to the game. And it's never happened. And so, like, that's the point. Like they were just momentarily, and so, like, all these times where you see that happen, we had that happen, where there was this one boss a while back that had a couple of glitches that gave me a little bit of problem. And so the scammer that is doing this for YouTube sat there and tried to figure out how to recreate a similar set of those problems by breaking this boss, you know, to literally just be like fucking, you know, like, as soon as we go in there, the boss arena is like 30 FPS or something like that. And it's the second that we go in there. So the point is, you see how long this is taking to refresh? They are doing that so that way I can't refresh it and show how many concurrents are coming in here based on this and what I say, this and that and the other thing, because that's what happened earlier. And this is the point. They're literally, this scammer is social engineering and figuring these out. And YouTube, this is what they do. They use their own platform to manipulate people through breaking shit. Literally just doing it on purpose because they don't want you there. They want to endlessly promote your content that was already there and make shitloads of money off of it, but they want you gone. And then now they want to have a scammer come in and make endless little clips and stuff of you and make shitloads of money off you, but not do anything themselves. Just endlessly take your shit and regurgitate it like some dollar store, you know, content creator, just literally taking your ideas and endlessly clipping you, and YouTube's going to promote the shit out of them, but they never promoted you. They just only ever broke shit for you, caused problems for you. You had to do your own promotions. You had to do it all. And, you know, literally as I see this, I see 3 in here, but endlessly this takes forever now. This is literally taking this long to refresh. So this is the point. This is how fucking garbage this is. Like, again, you guys know that refreshes immediately. So why is it that it's having such a problem right now all of a sudden? Why is it ever a problem? Is it because they're scamming it to break? Is that why? I just tried to hit refresh just now and it's just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah. And now it's gone because it's refreshing and it's actually taking that long. So that's what I'm talking about with this scammer using data. That's just data. That's a browser window. Just like they're staring at this browser window that I have up right now. There's not nobody in here. There's 6 people in here. It's just literally stuck there, lying. Yeah. It's literally just lying at this point. So, you know, basically what they do is they're crashing the server that this is running through, and they're using my browser window to do it, because I am right here, because every time this happens and I want to re-log in and fix it, I can't do that because they've crashed the website. And every time I'm refreshing, like there's 7 people in here right now. Let it be known there's 7 people in here right now. But every time I'm refreshing, it's just 0. It says it's 0. So, again, I will be documenting every last bit of this. I have to contact my lawyer about this, and they are crashing the server that this is running out of. So I'm going to call my lawyer pretty much right away. And I want to remind you, this is coming right off that stream last night where I proved to you YouTube will attack you and break everything after you talk about them and make them look bad. I want to remind you, this is all after that. Because remember, they weren't doing this to the streams where we were normally talking about the weather and had the... No, they liked that. Except now, the point is, I showed you what they will do. And all it takes is you got to yell at them and give them what they deserve for not doing anything. Literally just sitting here breaking shit on purpose to sabotage you. Well, that's called a terrorist. That's called somebody that's involved in social engineering. That's disgusting. So, I have to do a couple of things here. So I'm gonna go ahead and... Wow. So they have a keyboard hack too. They're hacking my keyboard too. So I'm going to document that. I'll be back. So what they're doing is they're actually logging me in and then crashing it so that I can't load it and then do something about it. That's what they just did. So that's why my keyboard was hacked. Confetti immediately. Immediately confetti. Yeah, they're remote logging me in, and it's causing all of these problems. Literally, my keyboard was completely unfunctional. Couldn't even use my fucking keyboard for anything. Like, literally just all these things breaking. So I'm gonna contact my lawyer here because that's literally what they were doing. They were remote logging me in. So I'm gonna contact my lawyer here and let him know that my keyboard was taken over on a trash Windows 11 system and that I'm constantly getting hacked every day. And again, that refresh, it's not 0, okay? It's literally just going to say that every single fucking time. So again, that is not 0. It is 4. So the view count is accurate through the software, through the server on their side of things, and I can see the concurrence through the website. So again, they're just crashing it. They are hacking my device, as you can see, and crashing it for me. I mean, it's not even showing you an accurate 4. I mean, like, what even is that? So like this thing, like they're literally like breaking things to the point that they're like reversing it and stuff. Like, look at this. Hold on. Ridiculous. So when I can see it, when I can see the concurrence just fine, and yet clicking the refresh button on my own OBS takes an entire 30 seconds to actually register that I've clicked it, and then another full 30 seconds to actually refresh the thing, we know what's going on there. Yep, we know what's going on there. So I'll be monitoring all of this. I'm monitoring all of this. We're gonna go ahead and grab whoever's doing this and steal the data and information and IP addresses from whoever is doing this to my machine. So I'm just going to go ahead and run my reversals here. And, you know, again, we have literally a full-on example of this not even functioning at all. I can't even hit the refresh button. That's the sound of me hitting the refresh button and it doing nothing. I am hitting the refresh button over and over and over. So this is specifically a scam designed for me to show you my screen and my streaming software. That's what it is. Because they want me to show you the entire thing so they can break as much about it as possible. And they want me to show you that I'm hitting the refresh button, just like any other time that I've shown you stuff in the browser window and in YouTube, and all they do is then break it. So again, if you're also sending reports to YouTube and they're asking for endless screenshots of this, so that, and the other thing, I promise you're actually dealing with a scammer. That is a scammer. Breaking more of your stuff. And yes, they work for YouTube. And yes, YouTube does this. As you can clearly see, the refresh button no longer functions. Yep. So I'll be giving my lawyer a call here. And I am literally watching somebody else refresh the concurrent counter on their side of things. I just watched them refresh it from their side of things. So somebody else is literally logged into this on their side and consistently just hitting that refresh button because I'm watching it refresh on their side of things and I'm not doing that. But I'm sure watching them do it. I am in fact watching them do it. Yeah. So that's what this is for. You know, again, just to show information, to try to get you to show information. There we go. So yeah, they definitely had the code for that. So they logged in. That was a breach on their side of things. And they clearly had that. Just like I said with the stream key. Where they're just sitting here staring at my browser window remotely. That's all they're doing. So every single time I open it, they see it. That's it. And that's why YouTube intentionally put your stream key right where it is, so that they would see it every single time, and it's leaked to the scammer every time. Because otherwise that stream key would never be there. Okay? So, we're talking about the fact that your stream key is literally right here. That is incredibly invasive. They should have never put it there. You can't leak your stream key. Or otherwise, again, they'll sit here and hack your browser. So why did YouTube do that? Why did they take your stream key from somewhere it would never otherwise be seen, ever, and clearly put it here somewhere you go every time you're streaming? Every streamer goes in here to look at certain various things. So why would they do that? And why would the scammer clearly have copy buttons for them to just click it? Almost as if, you know, they're having a keyboard hack or, you know, something like that, where all they got to do, mouse hack, keyboard hack, whatever they can get, they can, you know, if they can't copy and paste it with a keyboard command, they can just click it remotely. Why would they do that except for you to leak your stream key like I am doing right now? Why would they do that? Because it was never there. It was always somewhere else. This was up here. This was a small little thing in the corner. It was never this giant thing. They changed all this and made it so that this plays automatically. You got to pause it, which streams your data. They know exactly the device you're streaming from. The moment this plays, it causes a view, which flags your stream. You basically cannot open this at all, whatsoever. And that's what they want. They do not want you to open this. They do not want you to look at the likes, the view counts. They don't want you to be able to know instantly when people are coming in based on what this or that, what you're saying. They don't want you to figure out how to do that. Yep, they don't want you to figure out your audience. How dare you try to figure out what people want, guys? How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? So they do all this. Break shit. Move it all around so you get your stream key leaked. Again, the whole reason I couldn't even do this, clearly I can do it now. The whole reason I couldn't even do that was literally because they knew what it was. They had gotten in and realized exactly what it was, just like this stream key. That's right there for them to see remotely anytime they want. That's YouTube. Intentionally hacking in to that other platform shit. That is literally what this is. And now you can see I have fixed it. Because again, well, I clearly fixed it. It was never working until I literally just told you exactly what it was. So, again, When that fixed it, they clearly just got in there, learned what it was, just like this stream key, and it's literally that fucking basic. A stream key. Just like I all told you way back, and you retards made fun of it. So yeah, the scammer literally just took that, how everybody had no clue how detrimental that was, put it right there. That's exactly how HTML works. Yet this stream is basically just a URL, sort of. Sort of. Sort of. It's just literally fucking code that tells the internet, well, that route the traffic there. So you have that stream key. Well, he can just do whatever the fuck he wants with it. Duh. Duh. Dirt. 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 By the way, we're looking at an average CPM today around 10, 11. An average CPM today. But anyway, you can see that you know, we got clearly hacked into here. You know, again, it's very obvious that they got into that particular you know, account. And it's just them with data doing it. It's not like they're actually doing like any type of password, like typing a password. Trust me, the password for that is literally like impossible. They're not figuring out a password. They're not. It's not what they're doing. It's just data. They are getting that code. Okay? It's just data. They are getting in there and getting that code. Again, like I said, they can see this browser window screen whenever I have it up. You know, again, the live control room. You know, again, whatever browser they know that you use. It's about that. It's all about that. That's why they're attacking all the various devices and stuff that you have, that I have. Because the point is, they want to use one, they want to confuse you. They want to use one device to attack the other. They want to use one device to attack the other. If you have one, well, now they can limit and just breach the shit all day long. And when I have my device, and I'm fully aware you shouldn't have it connected all the time, because the whole point is that they are going to run shit all the time. Well, the problem is if I don't, and then I connect, now, for all this time, the person that is doing this with my data has been doing a bunch of shit detrimental to me behind the scenes because the real me hasn't been connected. So that's part of the problem. The part of the problem is this scammer then riles up those systems because he has enough data to do that and pretends to be me while I'm, you know, sort of disconnected and stuff. So it's literally just to get this where eventually they want to force you offline, force you into like a monk-like state, and then steal your online identity, where forever this scammer is now going to pretend to be me and has gotten me to quit offline and stolen, again, that online identity so that they can make money off of it. It's literally for that. So my point is, I'm just warning you, again, off that stream last night, it's very obvious to see what YouTube does in response to them, you know, being called out for this shit. They won't accept it and get rid of the person that has been reported to them for years. Well, no, obviously they're clearly sitting here helping the person do it. They're fully aware of who this person is. I have reported them for years. Given them so many screenshots, original accounts. They know their Steam account. YouTube knows who this person is. They know who the person is because they have that person's information. All just as sure as they keep pushing that data to cause Badoom to happen whenever they want. You know, I mean, it's the same bullshit that we keep seeing, where they're just sitting here non-stop distracting you from exactly what is happening. You know, it's all distraction-based shit, social engineering. I explain to you what YouTube is doing, and they fuck up my shit some more. Just like right then, as I'm clearly laying it down, we're wrapping up that laydown, badoom, distraction. That's data, man. That's data. That's the same endless fucking thing telling me to update it after I've already updated it 12,000 times already. How many times you want me to update it? It's already updated. So, you know, like, obviously, it's this thing, it's the bullshit thing where they're just using whatever they can. You get what I'm saying? A lot of this, a while back, started with the scammer lying to YouTube and trying to convince to them, I'll bet, you know, again, just how this went, you know, because of the analysis of how it went, it started with something to the effect of telling them that, you know, I'm just not updating things and stuff like that, and that's why things are breaking. And literally, I showed you evidence of YouTube, of Windows, of Microsoft, of YouTube, of all these different things that would, like, as soon as I did an update, as soon as there is an update, and I have confirmation of that, the very next thing that happens is I get another update that takes it backwards, that undoes it. I just did an update. Why is it telling me I need to do another one? Oh, right. That's right. I'm streaming, and the scammer has pushed data through to go and to the previous update because that's a security. That's a security breach. By putting you to the previous update, there are security risks in there. There are vulnerabilities they can find. So they push data to get the system to, whenever you know, again, you're off stream or whatever, make you think that you need to do another update. But you just did one. You don't need to do another update. You literally just did one. Why would you have another one? You just did one that day. This has been following me around since I started this channel. It is literally this fucking asshole using his Microsoft credentials to sabotage every Microsoft product I have. It's what happened with the Xbox, where Microsoft too fucking stupid to figure it out, and I'm telling them. And he literally just does this, where as soon as I do an update and I'm on stream, well, there it is. Now, and then he hears it and he hits the laugh emoji because he hears even Windows itself go boom and say, ha ha ha, you have another update. And then he knows it worked. How many of you have had your computer go to sleep and you can't wake it up? Or are your screens hibernate and you can't wake it up? How many people? Are you having this issue? It's this scammer. He is remotely taking control of your PC, and he doesn't want you to see what he's doing. So he turns your screens off and disables the function for them to wake up when you move your mouse. It's that simple. That's a security update. That is Windows endlessly being on the wrong security update. That's basic stuff, man. That is basic stuff. So, I mean, this goes back years. I remember when this first started, this asshole started with the opposite, where he was causing my computer to not go to sleep, which is where he got his name originally from. He was literally sitting here causing all of these problems, obviously not sleeping himself to do all this. But the whole point was it was a no sleep sort of process where he was putting the PCs, he was breaking them to not go to sleep so that he could steal endless CPU usage and vulnerability data. He's just hacking into all these people's machines, learning all this information, seeing what he can do with it. So that's why if you also had that problem years ago on Windows 10, that's why it was happening, because he was incessantly causing Windows 10 to, on purpose, as soon as it tries to go to sleep, like the snap of a finger, it just wakes right back up endlessly. And you got to go into like the fucking kernel to fix this shit. So this guy is doing all of this. He's hitting the laugh emoji right there, right down in there. That's funny to him. Okay. So that, again, I just want to remind you how many times, we've seen this over the years and we've talked about this, and it's pretty basic stuff where, it shouldn't just be endlessly happening. And right here in front of you, we saw this get hacked. And again, I've already explained it's the same code type of base system, just like your stream key is, where this person just all they have to do is figure out the code of what that is, and that's that's literally, it's a browser window, and they know that. Just like this is a browser window, with your control room. So it's endlessly getting this scammer wants other people to be like him. He's trying to socially engineer people to like him. He wants everybody to think he's some sort of good guy doing what the trolls want. That's what he's trying to do. So, like, what you have to realize about that, obviously, is if it goes beyond a joke, this gives trolling a bad name, and it gives the comedy a bad name. It's not supposed to be real life. The whole point is that things aren't opposite. You don't actually fucking do that. Like the memes, you're gonna tell your kid this is somebody that it isn't, and stuff like that. You don't actually fucking do that. So, like, that's the point. The point is this guy doesn't understand that. This guy is literally just a psychopath. Again, probably manipulated by Russian state media. Again, like I said, Steam account says Russian Federation. This person claims to be all this and this and this and this. The only important thing is that he's an impersonation scammer. That's the important thing. And that YouTube is using him as a scapegoat. They like this person. Otherwise, they would have gotten rid of him when he had my street address typed into the title of a video for 7 months. My street address. Okay? They would have gotten rid of him right then and there. Okay? That's disgusting. They even have policies against that. I mean, this guy was making social media accounts and trying to contact my family members, and then like taking their pictures and putting them on a stream and like zooming in on them, typing their names, their relationship to me and stuff. Like literally making really weird psychotic streams like this. Okay? So you have to understand that this is a person that is doing, you know, data theft, data mining, and social engineering, manipulating people and stuff like that. You do have to understand that, okay? And while it's going on right here on YouTube, and I'm reporting it, all at the same time, those reports go right to this person that's doing all that. That's the point. It's very clear to me that the person at YouTube that takes care of the moderations and report systems is this scammer. That's what I have basically figured out. So that's why, like, all this toxicity at YouTube's happening. All your reports go in and nothing happens. In fact, you put in a report, it's almost like things get worse almost. Yeah. The person's hitting the laugh emoji right now, okay? So do you kind of see what I'm saying? Where, like, it's literally just direct sabotage in the highest degree of anything. That is a terrorist. That is literally the definition of terrorism. That is literally what it is. Just terror. So, you know, again, this has been going on a long time. Nothing new. And you see the response from the stream last night. It's very, very important to notice those correlations between the stream last night and today, where, you know, we had the meddling with the view count earlier, and as soon as that happened, that was when the concurrent counter was broken to lie about it. Where you know, you know, they're trying to, you know, make it look like it's something from my... No, again, I just showed you I fixed it. Now it's working, obviously, and that's because I fixed it. But that's the point. Like, and I even told you exactly how they broke it. Okay? That's a magic thing I can do to make that thing freeze and break, okay? I mean, literally, if anything, again, like I said, I want it to work, obviously. Obviously. So, you know, again, you can clearly see those you know, compare what happened last night, where I'm yelling at YouTube for exactly this, for what they're doing. And then the very next stream, they're attacking my views, you know, and, you know, we see this. We see the breaking of something, like literal breaking of something, where it's clearly somebody taking advantage of YouTube's very own systems. Okay, so, I've been doing various things to, I'm okay. Like, I can come back now a little bit, but I'm probably gonna get going, because I have to do a couple of things now because of this. But, it's important to realize that YouTube is being dishonest about view counts pretty consistently. We've talked about this. So, you know, that was the what they were trying to do to cause the view removal this time. They know that if they shift the bitrate around, you know, again, I said what I said last night, and that's true too. It is. So, like, that's the point. Like, they're trying to find different ways of just fixing this and lying about it, aside from the thing I said, where it's blatantly obvious that it's literally a hack on my stream, because my bitrate shouldn't just shift around all over the place. And I have it right in front of you to show that, and I've explained what it is. Everybody's sort of starting to understand it. I'm educating a bit. And this is the point. This is what they did not want me to do. They did not want me to tell everybody what bitrate was. They wanted me to tell you what your stream key was. All this stuff where they're truly trying to get you to leak it, and all of you to make these mistakes too, and stuff like that. They like, this is the point. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to educate you about these things. I was the one that told you I'll bet you didn't know, but your stream key itself is literally, if you go to your stream, it's in the URL at the end of your stream. That's basically your it's basically your stream code. Basically. And so like that, like when we're talking about data being routed that simply, obviously your stream key is a little bit different, but it's still a stream URL. I mean, and not only that, again, you really can use that code right at the end. That's literally the code for that you use for the chats and stuff. The people that put it on this, that's what you use. It's right there. Okay? So, like, again, why would they then put the stream key right here where you intentionally leak it, where, like, it could just easily be somewhere else? Why is it here? Why does a player here just start playing when you open the control? Why would that happen? Nobody wants to play their own stream while they're streaming. Why would you do that? Nobody wants to do that. Do you do that? I can't do that. If I do that, this hacker will just sit here and just all the views gone. If I do that. Yeah. So like that's the point. And you know, like I said, I already mentioned the thing with the not live, the, you know, breaking the latest, you know, the thing I told you, the latest thing, you know, that you click that little live thing where it just it you know, it should be a little red thing in there that says, you know, you're watching live, except it'll gray out and put you back a bit so that your view doesn't count. Yeah, and it's still tracking it, so the scammer's just going in there and cleverly, you know, figuring out how to, you know, get that out of there. It's insane. And, you know, the point is, every time I've said this along the way, YouTube's done this, where they'll change the design of the control room like this to change something, but they won't actually fix the issue. They'll just change something to make it, you know, sort of more like, you know, some like legal tracking or something like that, where it's almost like they're trying to track what's happening better, but not like actually fix it. And I've shown you guys this, where even like the little indicators of standard versus high definition and stuff, where I talked about the, you know, certain things, you know, breaking about that. So then they put those in there and was like, that was like some sort of fix or so, you know, like, no, like literally it didn't do anything. It was clearly just the scammer, like creating some sort of clever thing or something like that to tell them, look, I fixed it, you know, or something like that. And they're like, you know, or something like that. And he's like, ha, I got him. You know, like, that's the point. Just like the revert to original, I told you that would fix that issue where, you know, all you gotta do is that, and the stream will actually process. But, you know, instead, they just, you know, cause endless problems for my processing, so my stream doesn't process right, just like randomly just taking away the 2K. You have to go to an extra step to do that, but just taking it off. And so obviously, if you just take it off and it should be there, it's clearly not processed when it says it is. It says complete. So obviously I'm going to revert to original. Obviously it didn't do it right. So, like, literally, this scammer was literally just doing that over and over and over, causing those problems. So I would just hit that button, and they would cause it to fail over and over and over, all throughout the day. As I would hit that, and I'd get on stream talking about it, they would cause it to fail. That's literally all they would do. And so I would have to do it, and then by the third time, after I get on stream and bitch about it, that third time, after I did it, it would instantly work. Like just check the box, and just there it was. And it failed for like fucking 16 hours in a row. Like 16 hours? I waited for this to reprocess? And I didn't even have to do it. Literally, this guy created this, specifically took the 2AK off just to get me to do that. And then, so he's lying to YouTube behind the scenes saying, oh, these people are abusing the revert to original, so that's why I'm getting behind in my work. He just wants to endlessly do nothing with the fucking excuse that I'm abusing the revert to original. So literally, this guy is harassing me and attacking people so he can endlessly sit behind the scenes, do fucking nothing, while he sits here and scams and endlessly steals content and milks people for money. And meanwhile, YouTube is literally giving this fucking scammer all this money, letting him just sit here and attack people. And this is what's happening. He's just doing all of this, and YouTube's allowing it. That's what's going on. And that's literally what he did to the revert to original, where endlessly my streams never even process, or the 2K is missing, or something's missing. Well, I don't have that fucking button anymore because he took it out. He caused the parameters that would cause me to use it just all the fucking time. Of course, he was causing that. Just like I'm sitting here reporting stuff, talking about YouTube all the time, because he is causing those parameters. He is shifting the bitrate around. He is attacking my devices. He is causing these fucking things to happen. He is breaking that concurrent counter. He is hacking into that fucking extra server to cause that, to get that code, to get that to fucking happen. So therefore, it gets you to react that way, it gets you to come on the stream, and it gets him to endlessly say to YouTube, oh, see, look, he's having this reaction. See, we need to moderate the stream more. We need to put it in some sort of thing, in limbo, and take away blah, 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 and moderate, yada, yada, yada. He's just doing this on purpose, causing all these parameters to endlessly have excuses to hold the people accountable, again, that aren't accountable for anything except calling him out on his fucking bullshit where he isn't doing his job. He's stealing money, he's stealing streams, and he's not doing his fucking job. That's what's actually happening. This piece of trash is supposed to be doing his job, and he's not. And he doesn't even work, he's not like even really that. Yeah, he just probably just took over somebody's credentials one day. Who the fuck knows? With an impersonation scammer like this, that's probably really legitimately what happened. That's what you have to realize. Who the fuck knows? So regardless of why it's happening, the point is YouTube is sitting here continuously using a scapegoat to have excuse after excuse to break shit and attack somebody. Again, I cannot express enough that you need to remember what we talked about last night and then see what happened today in the stream today as a result of us talking about YouTube last night. And remember the attacks that we saw yesterday too, where we saw some stuff that didn't make sense. I'll admit that maybe the thing with the cat on Boeing, I'll admit that could have been just a little glitch with the game that I was causing and talking about, because this scammer has broken things in games. So that's fair, okay? And if that's the case, that's on me. Fine, whatever. I don't care about that. I'm over that. We're not even talking about that. That's not that big a deal, okay? It is what it is. We're not fucking talking about that. We're talking about how consistently this person breaks fucking everything, okay? My concurrent counter, again, there it is. I hit it and it just fucking works, okay? Wasn't working earlier. Oh, wow, look at that. It just works because I made it work, and I clearly know why it was broken. All around that time where they were taking all the views out of the stream, all around the time where I was talking about Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon. Oh, yeah, conveniently then, I mentioned Team America. Yeah, right then. Oh, imagine that. Yeah, we didn't like that. Huh. Interesting how this person acts when mentioning Durka Muhammad Jihad. Interesting. That's my free speech. I don't give a shit. That is very interesting how they act, though. How entitled. That is interesting. It is very fascinating stuff. The entitlement. I know, confetti, I know. Because we're a bunch of retards. They're trying to convince anybody of anything except you doing that. Yeah. It's literally that simple. Nobody cares about... Everybody says retard anymore. We're all over this. I pointed this out expertly. You guys all... Yeah, there's the confetti. Nobody cares anymore, dude. You can... Yeah, all day, nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore. They've seen the light. It's okay. Nobody gives a shit. See, you're trying and nobody cares. They don't care. It's fine. It's okay. You know why? You know why? You know why? Because one of them is orange. Yeah, there's a retard that's orange. And he's starting wars. And he's known as the President of the United States. That's why. That's why nobody cares. Because everybody just recognizes that guy is fucking retarded. So, you know, it's just gotten to that point where we don't care about calling people out for what they are anymore. You know, it's just a little bit of comedy. It doesn't matter. We're not calling retarded people retarded. You know, you can call, again, we don't use that for that word anymore. You know, they're this, they're that, you know, we don't do that. Okay. So we're just going to use it for that now. Yeah, you're retarded. It's that simple. And you gotta, you know, recognize that people are over that. It's, you know, YouTube's doing this. This is them creating this, you know, they want to rile you up over these little tension building. Nobody cares. I heard that fucking shit on the school bus in middle school. And you're oh my god. Oh! I heard that shit on the bus in middle school. Were you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I heard a lot worse than that watching some Kevin Smith movies over the years too. Grow up. Grow up. Nobody cares. It's just comedy. It's literally for that. It's to get you to react. Stop reacting. It's comedy, you moron. Yeah, like, that's why it's funny, because you're like, duh, oh, my feelings. Nobody cares. That's the point. You have to realize how stupid you looked acting like that. That's why it's goddamn funny. You act like a retard. Duh. He said cunt rag. My feelings. It's just some syllables coming out the mouth, man. It didn't like launch a missile at you that bombed a school full of kids. Yeah, that, you know, no utter of the word retard is gonna bomb a school full of kids. I can't say Durka 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 and a bunch of kids are gonna get bombed in a school. That's not gonna happen. It's just syllables coming out my mouth. For crying out loud. Get over it. It's free speech. If what I say triggers you, you are the authority to be challenged. If what I say triggers you, you are the authority to be challenged. Yep. Yep. Listen, man. I never cared. Even when I got, see, the problem is, like, you don't realize I did martial arts because I actually got, like, I needed to defend myself. That's why I went to learn martial. I need to actually, it wasn't what they said. I didn't give a shit about that. Okay? That's what you gotta understand. Okay? That's what you gotta understand. And that is what, like, absolutely, I think almost nobody embraces when they're, thinking of thinking in this way. They're just not like, it's like, immediately they just, like what I said somehow again bombed something. So, I said that, and then, like, some state somewhere blew up because I said it, or something like what the hell, man? What is that? What could I possibly, like, no, it's just syllables. Ugh and and ugh. Boy, you're so triggered. Okay? Okay? Do you get what I'm saying? Don't be so triggered by this shit. It's funny. You know what else is funny? Your mom.